Welcome to the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We are again saddened by some horrific news that happened down in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yesterday, there was a loss of one life and the injuring of close to 40 people by a crazed driver who weaved in and out and onto the sidewalks, just hitting people at will. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and we're going to be talking about that subject. And we're going to also be addressing, again, the loose cannon that is known as Donald J. Trump. Let's talk about the horror that was that incident in Las Vegas, to the family members who lost that one loved one, and to the many family members who are now consoling and helping their injured to recuperate. A heartfelt condolence, and also heartfelt well wishes and hopes for recovery to those people injured from the Phil Taylor Jones Show. It seems that we have to come to you with this a little too often nowadays, but people in this country, as those around the world, their minds seem to be snapping at will, and they go into doing these heinous acts, whether you want to define it as terrorism in the sense of what these political muckety-mucks want to term it as, having connection with some kind of political statement or not. In my humble opinion, when you see a 4,000-pound car coming at you, that's pretty terrifying. So to those people, our hearts do go out. To this lady that did this heinous thing, I don't know what was going through her mind, but obviously something wasn't clicking right. She had a baby in the car with her, and just to go around and destroy life like that at will, something wasn't clicking right. But here's the ironic part that I find very strange. I didn't hear our esteemed president coming on telly saying how this was terrible. If this same woman had gone on the Las Vegas Strip, and shot up a lot of people, he'd be on there banging on the tom-toms with his gun control rhetoric. So what was he to say if he'd come on yesterday that there would be a need for car control now? You see how self-serving this lunatic is that we call president. He only comes on, or he only speaks when it's self-serving, when it suits his purpose, what he needs to go out and talk about, or the way he might want to lead the country. He was silent yesterday. Where were you, oh bastard? I know you heard about this heinous thing. So are you trying to tell the nation by your silence that it's okay to kill with cars, but not guns? Death is death, no matter which way you come by it. And if you come by it in a horrible, heinous way that this person did, it's just as bad as having the 14 die here in San Bernardino, or the over 100 in Paris, or whoever may die at the hands of a sadistic person. But yet you were silent. You were silent because you couldn't come on preaching car control. Well, there you are, Mr. O'Bastard. We know what your game is all about, pal. We know. Moving on to something that happened on Saturday. The Democratic presidential debate was underway, and they had to break for a commercial, at which time Hilary Clinton, who I don't care for, and anybody who's ever watched the Phil Taylor Jones Show or read some of my postings on Google+, they know that I do not respect this woman. I don't care for her. She is bad, bad, bad. But I'm not so much of a prude that I can't even deny this pitiful mess a chance to go to the bathroom without making snide or really disgusting commentary about it. I did say that, when she came back, she, sorry. I wouldn't apologize for going to the bathroom. That's a normal human function. I would have said maybe, I'm sorry for holding up the proceedings, but, okay, Mr. Donald Trump, who is a total loose cannon, I guess was at one of his little rallies or whatever, and the things that he said about the woman, to quote his words, were disgusting. I mean, why would you ridicule somebody for going to the bathroom? Does he not ever have to go to the bathroom? Okay, yeah, they were right in the middle of the debates or what have you, and she took a commercial, when they went to commercial break, she sees the opportunity to go to the bathroom. I guess maybe they shortchanged her because you and I both know in watching telly, commercials sometimes run long. And, they came back real quick. She wasn't there. Big deal. Well, he goes on to make innuendo about what she may have been doing in there. Now they've come up with some kind of sexual overtones as to what she was doing in the bathroom. I find that very distasteful and unworthy of a presidential candidate. Unworthy of a grown man, almost 70 years old. I think he's 69, you said? 69 years old and acting like he's 9. I mean, his son, Barron, the youngest one, probably would know how to act better than that. I mean, come on, Donald. Are you 69 or 9? That was ludicrous. It was immature and stupid. Then he said, oh, well, we won't talk about it. We won't go into it because it's just really disgusting. Well, you brought it up. And that's what makes me have serious doubts about you, pal. I mean, you come up with great ideas. Some of your ideas are top notch. And I applaud you for them. Like the stopping the muzzies from coming over here until we can find a better way to vet them or to investigate them, or whichever terminology they was used. I think you were right on with that. A lot of other of your issues that I think you're right on about. But when you get into your little rallies with all your little buddies or whatever, your people you feel are your buddies because they follow you, you start acting like a fool. I mean, do you honestly think that was, the proper thing to do? I'm not talking about politically correct. I'm talking about proper etiquette that a grown person would exhibit when speaking at a public venue. I mean, if you want to ridicule and talk about her political ideals and goals and what have you, well, yeah, that's all in love and war and politics. But to downtrodden somebody for doing a human function that you no doubt have to do yourself is, in your word, disgusting and disgraceful and very unlike a presidential hopeful or candidate. I mean, at what point do you grow up? You're 69 years old, pal. And then to put sexual innuendo, I'm not saying that Trump himself did it, but some of his followers or some of his cohorts, putting sexual innuendo on the person just going to the bathroom. She's Hilary Clinton, but even Slithery has to go to the bathroom. You don't know the situation, well, she's going to have a debate. You would think she'd gone to the bathroom before. I don't know. Sometimes temperature affects the way the person, has to go to the bathroom. Maybe it was cold in there to her or something. Or, maybe they were kind of burning her biscuits with the questions that they were asked, or asking her and Bernie Sanders and this O'Malley guy, maybe were getting on her case. And maybe that made her have to go to the bathroom. You never know what the circumstance is, but I would think that you would have been more adult than to sit up and ridicule somebody about a simplistic thing, a physical thing, as going to the bathroom. What were you thinking, Donald J.? the J stand for jokester? You need to grow up, pal. You're 69 years old. Start acting like it.
Talk about making a mountain out of a molehill.
I'm telling you, it just, like I said, it boggles my mind at the way people operate today. You don't like her political views. You're against it. It's Republicans against Democrats. I understand that. But still, I mean, we can attack this thing in a grown-up way and not attack people because of things of nature. People having to go to the bathroom or the way somebody's face looks. I mean, that's why I have a hard time connecting with Donald Trump totally. I have a hard time with that because that's childish crap. And I don't have time for it. I really don't have time for it. You're talking about you want to make the country great. And we don't win at anything anymore. Well, how in the hell do you think we're winning at anything if you're talking about somebody having to go to the bathroom and it was disgusting and what they were doing, and you don't know what they were doing unless you had somebody in there spying on the woman, and if that's the case, then you're one sick puppy. So how do you make America great is you stay on the issues and you keep talking about how you're going to systematically break down these issues so that they are no longer issues so that you can make the country great. But I don't think you can make the country great or anything else great for that matter if you're dwelling on somebody's having to go to the bathroom and what they may be doing in there while they're in there. Grow up, Donald J. And having said that, did you have anything to add?
I was just thinking about his comments previous to the disgusting part. They weren't very intelligent either. Where did she go? Where the heck do you think she went? I thought she quit. She came there to do the debate. What else would she be doing besides coming back and finishing off? She doesn't seem like the kind of person to just give up,
Yeah, we know that.
Pretty unintelligent too, if you ask me.
Slithery. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the commentators said that Mrs. Clinton had to leave the stage for a bit, but she will be returning soon. So, I mean, it seems like there are two Donald Trumps. There's the Donald Trump that's on the debate stage, and he's a little bit more controlled, a little bit more adult in some form or fashion, although he's gotten pretty much off the track with that, with the kid faces that he makes. But then when he's before his cronies, and he just goes off the rails. I find it distasteful, very disrespectful in a lot of ways, and disgraceful for a person that is aspiring to be president of these United States. Now, I don't know, I haven't seen a lot of his newfound friend, Mr. Putin. I've seen him in some presidential speeches and things that he makes. But, with the news media being what it is, these news whores, if he were to make some snide or creepy comment like that, I'm sure we'd know it. As I said before, at which time do you start to exhibit the experience and the wisdom of your 69 years, Donald J? I think you could do a lot better than, mocking somebody for going to the bathroom.
And speaking of doing things wrong, did you want to touch on what Clinton did to Bernie Sanders, that it was actually found to be that she did indeed do that?
Oh, yeah, we did. Thanks a lot for bringing that to the forefront. I was watching a program that I usually watch on telly, and they were talking about Slithery and how she's doing a lot of interesting things to kind of bolster her own rising as far as polls and public opinion on the Democratic side of things. If you notice, most of the debates, or at least the last two, have taken place on a Saturday evening. Real head scratcher. Why are they doing theirs on a Saturday? Most of the time on telly you have sports programs that people are interested in. You look at it being Christmas time, people are out, and about shopping on weekends because usually they're involved at work or what have you, or in other activities. So why Saturday? She and this Democratic National Committee CEO got their little heads together and decided this would be the way to go. Why? Because Slithery she's already very well known. She's well known from being the first lady. She's known for being a senator. She's known for being the Secretary of State. And her name is all over. And she's about as popular as Trump is, as far as, name power or, name dropping. Every time you look around, there's something about Hilary Clinton. Not very good, but there's something about her. And so you got people like O'Malley, who's almost off the radar, and Bernie Sanders, who she is very envious of because she's getting all the money from these Pac-10 people or whatever the hell you call them, and these Wall Street muckety mucks, and every other crooked way she can gather money. When Sanders is a grassroots movement that is about to topple, if not already has, O'Bastard's grassroots movement when he was running. So she's throwing all of these things in. They're looking at her now with great scrutiny at this data breach thing, supposedly on Bernie Sanders' side. And this woman will do anything. There have been deaths attributed to her and her slick willy husband when he was in office. You don't mess with the Clintons. If you do, you may come up missing, either dead or just sent away into, the never land. So she's still coming up with these same tactics. She'll do anything to win, and now it's coming more and more to the forefront every day. The next debate for the Democrats is going to be, get this, on the MLK Jr. weekend. It's going to be on a Saturday for that. Oh no, I think it's going to be on Sunday. I think, if I'm not misspeaking. I'll have to check that out and bring that back to you. But I think they said it's going to be on a Sunday this time. So she's, orchestrating these things so that she can rise in the polls, and Bernie Sanders, who she's kind of concerned about, because a lot of people like Bernie. Excuse me. A lot of people like Bernie. They, respect what he says because they feel that he's going to be in there for them, not, on her side of the ticket, just going to be in there. In fact, our exec, just check that out. It is going to be on a Sunday.
And didn't you tell me that on that same program that it was found that she actually was the culprit with this data thing and not just a mistake?
No, they're still investigating that.
Oh,
but
okay.
One of the guys that this lady was interviewing was saying that he wouldn't be surprised, just as I'm not, that she would do something like that because that's their MO. If anybody gets in their way, they want to take them out. And so anyway, yeah, this person is obviously a Wall Street person. She, goes with the money. Whereas in Sanders wants to go with the people. I know he has some crazy ideas in his socialism thing, but people look at that kind of funny. But obviously the guy wants to work with the people, as he says, together. He wants to work with the voters, the people that vote him in, to make it better for them. So we'll keep an eye on this Hilary Clinton thing as far as whether or not she actually had something to do with that data breach stuff that ended up in Sanders' camp. And we'll bring that to you if and when we get more information on it. We just had to bring you that. It seems like we keep coming on here with you, but like I said, we can't set an agenda anymore because there's too much craziness and it pops, and we think you ought to know about it. Last word to Mr. Trump: grow up, pal, and stop talking about people going to the bathroom, unless you're one of those lucky ones that don't have to go like the rest of us. Anyway, happy holidays coming up. Merry Christmas. There's a few little days, and now it really is a few little days, because at the recording of this show, it's Tuesday, and Christmas is directly upon us. So be safe as you go out there for your last minute shopping and all that good stuff. And losing my voice, but we'll be back with a Christmas special in a couple of days. Look forward to that. And we'll see you next time right here on the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Merry Christmas and goodbye.